Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1996 Chevy Corvette Grand Sport. Up front is a 5.7 liter V8 and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Grand Sport Corvette for two reasons. First of all, I do really like the C4 generation of Corvette. I think this is kind of the first modern Corvette in my own opinion. But the second reason is the fact that this is a Grand Sport, one of only 1,000 made. To commemorate the end of the C4, it got some extra goodies, and we're going to talk about them here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that LT4 V8 up front. Well, it's a 5.7 liter V8. Same thing that was found in a lot of other GM products of the era. 350 technically. However, for the Grand Sport, they did a little bit of hillbilly hot rodding and made this engine a little bit more powerful, made it move a little bit more freely than the LT1, so they named it the LT4 because they changed enough of it to be interesting. It's still not the fastest thing on God's green earth. However, it is that healthy bump and upgrade over the traditional engine that they were using here for the C4 generation. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual. Love to see a 6-speed in the mid-90s. A lot of cars are still sticking with 5 speeds. This has a 6. It's lovely. It's great. Clutch is a little stiff. Shifter's a little stiff, but to be expected out of anything American of the era. Last but not least, of course, the Corvette Grand Sport is rear-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the C4 Grand Sport? It's great. Not only is it really truly powerful enough for me, I'm having plenty of fun here today in this Grand Sport. It's lovely and great. It's also not that punishing to drive. It's actually quite lovely, and I don't want to say cushy because it's not a cushy ride, but it doesn't beat you up at every single corner. It doesn't try to kill you. And you do notice that engine is just a little bit freer. It's like when you get your first car at age 16 and you can't stop giggling because you could go wherever. That's how this engine feels. Let's try a little bit of second gear here. Yeah, very smooth, very linear, exactly what I want out of a fun Corvette. I feel like I could use this car everywhere, and that can't always be said even about the new Corvettes. They're so powerful. I mean, where do you use 1,200 horsepower? In this, I get to enjoy this back road, really row through my own gears, feel like Speed Racer without actually being too close to meeting the Grim Reaper. That's a really nice spot to be in, and especially because these are collectible and getting to that age where they're a little bit more affordable and things like that. If you're looking for a back road cruiser, the C4 is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of gauges. So off to the left is a giant tachometer. In the center, we do get some digital gauges. It is rare to find them still operating, and this one is very, very good condition. Love to see that. And then off to the right, we have oil pressure, oil temperature, coolant temperature, and battery voltage. So the fuel and speedometer in that digital gauge, I like it overall. Very, very 90s, very cockpit style, which was the style of the era. On the steering wheel, we just get an airbag, and that's it. Nothing cool or interesting there. Off to the left, again, sort of cockpit style, we have a climate vent, we have the traction control off button, gonna leave that on. We have our headlight switch and fog light switch, power mirrors, power windows, and of course our door latches on the side. Moving into the center, we do get another climate vent, as well as our trip monitor, fuel info, engine metrics, trip odometer. This is all for that digital gauge cluster in the middle. Love to see that. We do have our climate controls, temperature off to the left, where to send it down below, fan speed off to the right, and it does actually have auto fan speed, which is very, very nice. Then we have the radio. This is a little bit before the theft lock radio of the C5. And it does have a CD player, as well as a Delco Bose Gold Series cassette player. I am probably the only person that has said that phrase today, if not this week. Moving into the center, we get the shifter off to the left. We get the tiniest cup holders in the world off to the right. So it, of course, fails the big friggin' bottle test. And then we have our seat adjustments. So tons of really cool seat adjustments found here in the C4 Grand Sport. Really, really love this. And you put it up or down for driver or passenger. So if you want to adjust the passenger seats, you push this down. If you want to adjust the driver's seat, you push it back up. Then we do get a giant center console, and we have the seats. The seats are comfortable. They are leather, and they do have Grand Sport stitched into them. Love that little attention to detail, especially for a vehicle as special as this car. But I'm a big guy. I fit in them, and I don't have any complaints. This is a true sports car in that fashion. Me and a passenger, and that's it. However, we don't have any back seats, but we do have a trunk. So let's go talk about the back of a C4 Grand Sport Chevy Corvette. All right, so here's the trunk of the C4 Grand Sport, and as you can see, plenty of space. Now, these clips right here, you could see one on that side right there, one on that side. That is actually for the target top. So this section of the roof essentially, does come off, and you actually slide it into those slots. Now, I will not be taking it off here today because in its 20-some-odd thousand mile life, it has never had the roof removed. And so at this point, the seals have probably joined together, and it would just do more harm than good to take the roof off. But Chevy thought of it, and they did put little slots in there. Really, really cool to see that. We also get a nice badge for the Delco Bose Gold Series. Very, very lovely there. Push this back down. You got to make sure it clicks right around those two knobs. And what's interesting is you pull up on this, and that's actually where you fill it up. That's where the gas tank is. Premium fuel only, so be sure to remember that. But very cool location there for the C4 Corvette, and that's what's around the back of the Grand Sport. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is the big distinguishing difference between other C4s and the Grand Sport. The Grand Sport got a special color combination, the blue with the white stripe. I think it looks killer. However, there is an attribute on the exterior that is very cool and actually very purposeful. So if you look at the rear tires, they are super, super wide. This has the wheel and tire package from a ZR1, the high performance Corvette. However, the ZR1 actually had a wider body. So in order to fit the wider tires, just for the Grand Sport, they added these tiny little fender flares up over the rear tires. So very, very interesting. If you see those on a Corvette, that is for the Grand Sport. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this rare celebration edition of the Chevy Corvette, the C4, more importantly? Well, I've said it in many videos. I'll continue to say it in many videos. I'm not a Corvette guy. I don't really see the appeal. I don't think they look great. They kind of look like blown up Hot Wheels. They're very played out. Everyone and their dad has ever had a Corvette until I drive them. I get back in the driver's seat and I go, oh yeah, this is why they're special. This is why they're great. And then I stand next to one and I go, yeah, that's a good looking car. And I drive it and it drives great. So for today, I am a very big Corvette fan. But let's talk about how special the Grand Sport is. They only made 1,000 of them because it was the last model year of the C4. They knew that the C5 was on the horizon. They wanted to do a little celebration send-off, cool colors, wider wheels, special engine, that sort of thing. And I think they accomplished that very, very well. The one thing I do want to say about special celebration vehicles like this is that people often scoff at them and say, oh, why would they even do that? Well, I'm sure there are big Corvette enthusiasts that wanted the last of the last, and the C4 being the most modern Corvette at the time, it had completely changed what the Corvette really meant. It's a big deal, and it's worth celebrating. But I think it's also worth celebrating the men and women who made this car possible. Back in the 80s when this car was designed, the men and women who got it approved to modify an LT1 to make it kind of a hot rod, the men and women that got it approved to put fender flares and wide tires on this car. It's one of the vehicles that Chevy doesn't really have to make. Contrary to popular belief, Chevy isn't rolling in the dough because of Corvettes. They're rolling in the dough because of Chevy Cruzes and, at the time, Cavaliers. The Chevy Cavalier paid for this car to happen. And so I think it's a nice celebration of the team that put this together. They put a little bit of spice on some of the last cars to roll off the assembly line. And I gotta hand it to them. They built something special. This is a special car. Would it get beaten by a brand new Subaru WRX? Probably, but you're missing the point. It's red, white, and blue for a reason. This was the crown jewel of what we could achieve at the time. And I have to say, it's quite the achievement. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Clay and Rob for letting me borrow not only this C4 Grand Sport, but they actually gave me free reign of their small collection. Their 93 Firebird Trans Am, their C7, and their 2023 C8 Z06. So you'll see those videos on the channel at some point as well. They've been absolutely wonderful to work with, such gracious hosts. I felt so welcome the moment I met them, and I am just so appreciative of what they were able to do for me here today. So thank you to Clay and Rob. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.